Hey problem solvers, Colfax Math here. Today I was going to go over the Praxis core math sample problems. This is from a book. I'll put a link to this book in the description. I also put a link to this test in the description. And what I would do is I would print out this test, do the very best you can on the problems, mark up the test as much as you can, and then check your answer against my work to see how I figured it out. And hopefully this will help you with the Praxis math core test to be a teacher. So let me put the camera over my shoulder and we'll get started. So here's the book, Praxis Core for Dummies. You can get it at Amazon, and I'll put a link to the description there. And then here's the first problem. Any number that is 1 greater than the square of an integer. So we're saying 1 greater than the square of an integer, and x has to be an integer, and that has to be a prime number. So I'm looking for a counter example to that statement. So one way I could do it, I could just look at these and see which ones are not prime, or I could cross out the ones that are prime. And I think I'm just going to go through a process of elimination and do this kind of in reverse. So if x squared plus 1 is equal to 65, x squared plus 1 is equal to 65. I would subtract 1 from each side to get x squared equals 64. I would take the square of that. It is 8. It is an integer. And 65 is not a prime number. So I could see A works right there. 37 is a prime. So that one does not work. 101 is a prime as well. And 2 is a prime. So you could do it this way, or you could just see that that's actually the only one that's not a prime. Okay, number 2, what is the greatest common factor of 42 and 28? Factors are numbers that go in there. So let's start with 42 here. Factors of 42 would be 1 and a 42. And then I'm going to look for all of the factors that go in there. Half of 42 is 21. It would be a 21 and a 2. A 3 would go into here 14 times. A 4 does not, a 5 does not, a 6 will go into here 7 times. A 8 doesn't go in there, a 9 doesn't go in there. I think that's about it. So then we're going to look at the factors of 28 now. Same thing, I'm going to set it up with a 1 and whatever it is. Then I'm going to figure out the other factors, a 2 and a 14 because it's even. A 3 does not go into it, a 4 and a 7. 5 doesn't, 6 doesn't, 7 is already there. So those are the factors of 28. Those are the factors of 42. And then I'm looking for the greatest one in there. So common factors would be a 1 and a 2, a 7. But the greatest common factor would be the largest one in common, and that would be 14. So number 2 is 14. Number 3, if 3x minus 7 equals 17, so 3x minus 7 equals 17, what is the value of negative 8x plus 21? This is an expression because there's no equal sign, so I can't really do anything with this. This is an equation because there's an equality, so I could solve this, get a value for x for this, take that value for x and plug it in here, and then evaluate that expression. So the way I solve this equation is to get x by itself. I add 7 to both sides to get 3x over here. Those will cancel, equals 17 and 7, 24. X is equal to 8. I take that value of 8 and I plug it in here. So I have negative 8 times 8, negative 64 plus 21. Negative 64 plus 21 is going to be a negative 43. Okay, number 4. There's a lot going on in number 4. But like most of these problems, the key is to transfer all the words to a diagram to figure out what you're actually getting asked. So the following pyramid has a square base. So I don't know what that is, but I know that and that are the same. A height of 9, so that is the altitude at 9. And the volume is equal to 432 cubic centimeters. Well, volume of a pyramid is 1/3 base area, x times x, times height, a 9. So that's the equation for volume. That is the volume. So I'm going to set them equal to each other. 1/3 x squared times 9. 1/3 times 9 is just 3. So now I have 432 is equal to 3x squared. Divide both sides by 3, and I get x squared is equal to 144, or square root of both sides, x is equal to 12. So the volume piece tells me how to figure out the base sides, and it's square, so they're all 12. And then it says, what is the surface area of the pyramid rounded to the nearest whole number? So I need to find the area of these 4 triangles. The total surface area would include the base. The lateral surface area is really just the sides, and I think here they're just talking about the sides. So I need to find the area of this triangle, and then if I can find that, then I can multiply it by 4. The fact that I'm getting rounded to the nearest whole number tells me that I'm going to have to use a calculator. So you can't actually bring a calculator in with you, but there is one on the computer when you take the test that you can use. Okay, so I have this 12 here, I have this 9 here. I could create another right triangle inside here, where this right triangle would be half of the 12, 6. That height would be 9, and then this here in purple would be the slant height from the vertex to middle there. So that purple line, I would find the length of that with the Pythagorean theorem. 6 squared plus 9 squared equals 117. And then that is going to be c squared. So c squared equals 117, or the square root of 117 is 10.8. I'm actually going to leave that on my calculator for now. So this outside slope of the pyramid has a base of 12 and a height of 10.8. So I'm going to keep that in my calculator at 10.8, multiply it by my base of 12, base times height, divided by 2 is area of that triangle. So I have that one triangle is 64.9. Oops, sorry, 64.9. But I have 4 of those triangles, so I multiply by 4 to get a lateral surface area of 259.59. Rounding to the nearest whole number would be 260. There's my answer right there. Answer D, 260. Oh, that's actually, the units are wrong. That's actually square centimeters because it's surface area. Okay, let's move on to number 5. Which of the following statements on the set of data is true? So let me see what we're even talking about. I read through them. Here's the mean, median, median, mean, mean, mode. So it's really understanding mean, median, and mode. The mean is the average of the values, represented usually with a x bar. X bar. The median is the middle number, and the mode is the most frequent number. So to find the middle number, I have to put them in order. So I'm going to write them out on this piece of paper in ascending order. 23, 41 is the next one, I think. 41, 41, 54, 76, 78, 83, 85, 92. So now I have them all in order. Now that I do have them in order, let me just double check I have the right number of numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So n is the number of values you have. N is equal to 9. The mode's easy to figure out because that's the most frequent. The mode will be 41. The median is going to be the middle number. So this value right here, 76, has 4 values below it, 4 values above it. So my median is 76. And then my mean, so I'm going to add all those values up and divide by 9. So 23 plus 41 plus 41 plus 54. So the sum of all those values is 573 divided by the number of values 9 gives me a mean or an average of 63.7. So let's see which one of these pieces down here is true and which one's not. The mean is greater than the median. That is not true. The median is greater than the mean. That is true. Let's keep going though. The mean is greater than the mode. That is true. That one is also correct. The mode is less than the median. That's true. Now look at this. This is why you got to read so thoroughly. The mean and the median are greater than the mode. That is also true. So all of these are true, and only one of them is false, and that's actually what it's saying. Which statement about the following set of data is false? The only thing that is false is A, the mean is greater than the median. So many of these are really about reading comprehension and reading thoroughly. But speaking of thoroughly, number 6 on this test right here is clearly a typo. Why is the following relation not a function? And then it has a picture of a trapezoid. That doesn't even make sense. So range are possible values of y. Domain is possible values of x. Has nothing to do with this diagram, so that's a typo right there. So we'll skip that one, number 6. Move on to number 7. Number 7. What is the perimeter of the following right triangle? This is a Pythagorean theorem problem. 5 squared plus, 5 squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. And I'll just use calculator on this. I might recognize this one, but I'm going to subtract 5 squared from both sides. So 13 squared minus 5 squared is equal to 144. I take the square root of 144, and I see that this is equal to 12. It's not asking me what the length of this side is. It's saying what's the perimeter. So 12 plus 5 is 17, plus 13 miles is 30 miles. Answer B right there. Okay, moving on to number 8. What is the product of 2 times -1 times 4 times -3 and 6? To be safe, I could do that on a calculator. I'm really keeping track of the negatives. So 2 times, I got to use this bottom button down here for negative, not the subtraction key, so I'm using that. 2 times -1 times 4 times -3 times 6, and it gives me 144, which is answer B. I think I said this earlier, but I'll say it again too. What I would do on these tests is I would print this test out, have paper, pencil, calculator with you, and then I would do the whole problem the best you can, and then watch me solve it and see if we have the same solution. And if you got it right, then just skip it and go on to the next one. Okay, number 9 here. Which number is not represented in the following stem and leaf plot? So you have to know what this stem and leaf is in statistics. This is really saying this is the stem of the number 21. 2 and 3 is the number 23. 2 and 5 is the number 25. Then I have a 30, a 32, a 44, 45, 47. So these are the stem, these are the leaves. And then it's kind of telling you that 3 and the 2 represents the 32. So what numbers are not represented? Well, 30 is right there. 23 is right there, 2, 3, 6, 0. Well, there is no 6, 0. That one is not represented. 51 is a 5 and a 1. 45 is a 4 and a 5. So number 9 would be C. Okay, down to number 10. 27 is 75% of what number? So I'm saying I have some number times 75% is 27. The key to all these is decoding the words. So that's the same as a decimal. So 0.75 of some number is 27. And then to get x by itself, I divide both sides by 75, or 0.75. So this divided by 0.75 gives me x by itself. And then 27 divided by 0.75 gives me 36. So x is equal to 36, meaning that 75% of 36 is 27. So 10 would be A. Number 11, moving on to 11 here. The following quadrilateral is translated 7 units up and 4 units left. What will the coordinates of the new vertices be? So that means this value right here at negative 5, 3. The existing value is negative 5, 3. It goes up 7 and over 4. A coordinate is always x and then y. It's always over and then up. So putting these backwards like that's a little bit of a trick. So you really want to say you want to go 4 to the left first in x and then 7 up in y. So negative 5 to the left 4, the new value would be negative 9. And then 3 plus that 7 would be 10. So that's a new coordinate. I don't know if I could do this with the process of elimination. There's only one right here with negative 9, 10 in it. But we'll keep going to show you how to do a few more points, and we'll see if we can see them. So I could actually stop right now because this is the only one with the negative 9, 10 solution in it. But I'll do one more point just to make it clear. So this coordinate right here is 6 in the x direction, 5 in the y. And then I'm going to go over in the x direction. So my new value here is 4 over 2. And then my new value here is 7 higher, or 5 and 7 is 12. So this one right here, I could see there's the negative 9, 10 and the 2, 12. I don't see any other one with the 2, 12. Got a lot of them backwards, like transpositional errors. So I think you get the idea there. So the answer has to be D. You don't have to do the whole problem. And I think that's probably why they did it that way. Over to number 12. Adam eats a quarter of a pie. I won't be able to figure this out until I see it. So Adam eats a quarter of the pie, and Wade eats half as much of the pie as Adam eats, half as much. So that means Wade is not going to eat a quarter, he's going to eat half as much, or an eighth. What fraction of the pie does Wade eat? He's going to eat, you can see it here, Wade's going to eat 1/8 of the pie. Number 13. If 3q plus 5 equals 35, what's the value of q? Basically, you just solve this equation. 3q plus 5 equals 35. Solving to get q by itself, I'll subtract 5 from both sides. 3q is equal to 30. Divide both sides by 3. And q is equal to 10. 13 is E. The following table, so here, I fold this over. While I'm doing that, let me just throw out there, if you're new to this channel, think about subscribing. It's a practical math channel. I teach both high school math and shop, and I love the applications of math. But sometimes getting to the place of teaching, you got to just do some standardized tests, and I'm hoping this will help some people out and get some more good people into the field of teaching. It is a great, great career. The following table shows the percentage of categories chosen in terms of national origin as favorites in a poll of members of volunteer service. 500 members were polled, so this N equals 500. That's an important number to note. How many more members chose Mexican than Greek? Oh, this is an important word to note right here, more. So how many more members chose Mexican over Greek and Japanese combined? So Greek and Japanese are combined to get 22%. How many people chose this category over this one combined? Well, that's 2%. Difference, 24% to 22 is 2%. Sorry, a little low there. 2% difference, 2% times 500 is 10. So 14 would be 10. Okay, number 15. Where's number 15? A polling company plans to poll workers at a large corporation on an issue not concerning the corporation. Which of the following methods would most likely involve polling an unbiased sample? Got a few choices here. So this is a good problem on statistics. So we want an unbiased sample, asking the president of the company questions and using his answers. Well, that doesn't even make sense, right? You know what he's going to say. Asking questions of every 10th worker. So right there, this idea of every 10th is a randomness being instilled. So this is a good one. So asking questions every 10th worker. Polling every third cafeteria worker. Well, they're not really going to be unbiased. Why would you select? That's not really a random selection. So cafeteria workers are out. Asking people questions as they stand in the lobby waiting at an executive meeting. There's inherent bias in that. So that doesn't even make sense. Conducting interviews of people who work in the mailroom. Again, not a random sample. The only one that even makes sense is B. And the giveaway is that this is a random sample of all workers. So that would be the best polling method. So again, I'll put the link to this book in the description, as well as a link to this test that's just online, but put out by the publisher. And let's see what else. If you really want to go back and take an online course in key algebra ideas, I'll put a link to that called College Ready Mathematics. It's a really cool online class where you can kind of hone in all those skills, and really, if you've been away from the classroom, might help a little bit. All right, again, thank you for watching. Love to hear your comments, especially after you take the exam. If this helped at all, and if you liked the video, go ahead and hit like. Thank you. Thank you for your time.